Okay, welcome. Glad you could join us for this special webinar AARP is sponsoring on cryptocurrency fraud, ways you can protect yourselves and ways you can prevent a scam. My name is Helen Savage. I'm a volunteer with AARP. And I'm really excited that today we have three guests with us. We have John Marin from the North Carolina Secretary of State's office. We have Jeb Saunders from the Attorney General's office. And we have Kaylee Mayer from the United Way to talk about the 211 program. We're seeing that cryptocurrency is becoming a much larger issue for consumers from the fraud perspective. In the most recent FBI's Internet Crime Report, they report that $9.3 billion was lost in 2024 to this type of scam, and it was a 66% increase from 2023. Older Americans are definitely part of the loss with cryptocurrency fraud. They have, and last year they lost $2.8 billion. So this is, and I wanted to start off just by sharing an experience of a good friend of mine as an example of this can happen to anybody. So Linda received a message on her internet, and it said there was a problem with her bank account, pretended to be her bank, and that she needed to call immediately to rectify it. And she responded to it, and the scammer told her that she needed to withdraw $6,000 to protect an issue with her bank account. And I'll leave out all the details on this, but the bottom line is she withdrew the money. The scammer stayed on the phone with her for a very long time, directed her to various cryptocurrency machines, which she didn't know what they were. She didn't know how to use them. And he would say, well, I know an easier to use one, directed her to 3 different machines. And she was just on the verge of depositing her $6,000 when a teenager who worked in the convenience store said to her, "Ma'am, we're seeing a lot of people getting scammed with these machines," because he saw she was struggling with how to use it. And that one comment from a teenager kind of jolted her out of the reality that she was in. And she didn't lose her money, but it certainly was an illustration to me, number one, that the machines that we find in our grocery stores, convenience stores, gas stations, it's even hard to identify them necessarily as a cryptocurrency ATM, because they might look like a regular cash machine, a regular ATM. I looked at one in a grocery store recently that had 2 functions. One, it was where you could deposit your coins and get cash back, but it was also a Coinstar machine, and you could also buy cryptocurrency on it. So this is a topic that consumers don't have a lot of familiarity with. And AARP really wants to rectify that today and to help prompt the education process and the understanding of cryptocurrency and how it is being used to scam people. We're going to start with a video from AARP that features a staff member who specializes in fraud prevention, and it's all about cryptocurrency. So Steve, can you roll that video, please?
Regular ATMs. You might not even notice passing in the grocery store or gas station, but the way they work is totally different. These machines aren't connected to banks. They are used by people to convert cash into cryptocurrency, but criminals are using them as a payment method in their scams. Here's how crypto ATM scammers steal millions from consumers. In a crypto ATM scam, fraudsters trick victims into withdrawing their own cash and depositing it into a cryptocurrency kiosk to purchase virtual currency that's then sent to a scammer's crypto wallet. Confusing, right? Scammers love cryptocurrency because it has the benefit of not being well understood by most consumers, and it can be difficult to trace. And while scams like this come in all shapes and sizes, they often start with a false sense of urgency. It could be an out of the blue communication from what you think is your utility company saying your account is delinquent and they are sending someone to cut off your electricity unless you can pay now. Or it could be from someone claiming to be from your bank saying someone is actively hacking your account and the solution is to move money out of it and into another account now. The list goes on, but the next step is the same. They direct you to withdraw a certain amount of cash from your bank and head to the nearest crypto ATM. They might even give you directions on how to get there. So helpful, right? Then they give you specific instructions on how to deposit the cash into the machine and send it. Once you complete the transaction, you might think you've taken care of your problem, but the reality couldn't be farther from the truth. What you've done without realizing it is you've converted your money into cryptocurrency and given it to the criminal. Once that transaction happens, the scammer stops communicating with you, and you start to realize it was a scam from the beginning and your money's been stolen. Because cryptocurrency is not backed by any government institution and transactions can be tough to trace, the chances of getting your money back are slim, which is a big benefit for criminals who steal millions and dodge law enforcement. The bottom line is that no bank, business, or government agency will seek payment through a crypto ATM, so protect yourself. If you do get an urgent message from your bank or a utility or even a friend, contact them directly. If the message didn't come from them, disengage. Any problem that must be solved with money sent through a crypto ATM is a scam. Full stop. For more information on cryptocurrency and scams, go to aarp.org/cryptofraud.
Okay, great. I really appreciate in that video that Amy reinforces 3 really important things about all kinds of scams that hold up. It's good to keep in mind. It's an unexpected contact. There is an urgency with the request, and there is a specific way that they want you to respond. So that certainly is true of cryptocurrency. So we're going to get started with hearing from our first speaker. John Marin is the Director of Investor Protection and Education Services in the Securities Division at the North Carolina Secretary of State's office. So, John, can you fill us in on what your agency is seeing about cryptocurrency as a problem, and also distinguish between legitimate uses of cryptocurrency and ways that cryptocurrency is a scam? Oh, John, you're muted. There you go.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Helen, for the opportunity to participate today, and for AARP for giving us the platform to talk about this important issue. I am, as Helen said, John Marin with the Secretary of State's office. I do need to give a little bit of a disclaimer, just saying that the views expressed are mine, not necessarily that of the departments or the secretaries. The Securities Division, our role is to be the state regulator of investments, securities, and so in that sense, we're very similar to the federal SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. virtually anybody that is offering, selling, or promoting a particular investment needs to be registered with the Secretary of State's office. And the investment product as well needs to be registered with the Secretary of State's office. There are some exceptions, but generally speaking, the law starts from a presumption that the professionals, the promoters, the sellers of investments, as well as the investment itself, has to be registered. And so the simplest thing, the easiest thing that anyone can do is to contact the Secretary of State's office. You can use the website. Our toll-free number is 800. What is uh, I I should know. I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but anyway, we'll get that for you. I'm sorry. My apologies. Actually, hold on. 800-688-4507. 800-688-4507. Sorry, brain freeze there. Call and ask to speak with one of our registration agents to see if the person or the product is registered. Now, with regard to crypto, the things that we're seeing are oftentimes not true investments, but the scam artist is encouraging the use of cryptocurrency or converting a person's dollars into some cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, others, and then sending that off to some wallet that may or may not be the person that you're actually communicating with. Legitimate uses of crypto? Well, yes. I mean, this is sort of a very evolving area. The state securities law sort of is pegged to federal securities law, and there hasn't been there's still some nuance and still some ambiguity as to what these things actually are and how they are to be regulated. So we're still waiting for guidance from the federal government. There's some legislation pending, but until that time, there's still some ambiguity. But generally speaking, if a person is being encouraged to send money where there is an expectation from the person that is sending the money that they're going to get some money in return, some return on their investment, and they have no actual responsibility for making the enterprise work. They're relying on the entrepreneurial or managerial skills of a third party. Then that is sort of the basic definition of what a security is. And those kinds of things, those sort of situations are the ones that I mentioned where there needs to be registration. So if people are seeing or being pitched an opportunity, they need to ask questions. They need to find out if the person that's pitching the investment is registered, if the thing that they are pitching is registered. And the easiest way to do so is to contact the Secretary of State's office to help figure that out.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's switch gears for a second. And Kaylee, you're with the United Way with the 211 number. And I wondered, given what we've talked about so far and what you've heard so far, are questions about cryptocurrency something that 211 is getting questions about?
Yeah. So we have seen some calls that come into NC211 that's related to financial scams, some including Bitcoin and cryptocurrency scams, but oftentimes callers are calling to see who have either already lost their money or calling because they're feeling pressured to send payment. So they're saying, hey, is this a scam? Do you have any information on this? But while NC211 can't investigate or recover their funds, our role is just really there to listen and provide that guidance on the next steps and connect callers with the trusted resources that we're talking about today. And it's important for us on our end, especially through this vulnerable stage that the consumers are going through, is to offer them that safe, judgment-free place to call so that we can point them towards the agencies that handle the frauds and scams directly. And of course, I'll talk more about NC211 and more in a little bit. But yeah, we have seen some calls come through regarding this. So yeah, the need is there.
Okay, thank you for that. We're going to now move on to another panelist. Jeb Saunders is with the Attorney General's office. He's a special deputy attorney general in the Consumer Protection Division, and he's going to share with us some of what that very important consumer protection agency is seeing in terms of cryptocurrency fraud. So, Jeb, for starts, are you seeing a change, an increase, or a decrease in the kind of complaints that the Attorney General's office is getting, the kind of contacts from consumers you're getting about cryptocurrency?
Yes, it almost feels like it's an epidemic, starting probably when we returned from the pandemic. We were just getting a deluge of complaints about cryptocurrency, and I can share a statistic. So I had an elder fraud unit within the Consumer Protection Division in the Attorney General's office, and for 2024, my elder fraud unit received 31 complaints about cryptocurrency scams. Of those 31 complainants, 25 victims reported losing money, and they lost a total of $3.3 million, which averages out to $133,000 per victim. And just for comparison purposes, the next worst scam, which is what we would call a sweetheart or friendship scam, though those can overlap with cryptocurrency scams, as we'll get to, the average loss was $73,000. So just slightly more than half the cryptocurrency loss, and fewer than half of the sweetheart scam victims lost money. So yes, we're getting tons of complaints about cryptocurrency scams, both investment scams of the sort that John touched on, and also use of cryptocurrency kiosks, which again, as we will get to, are really kind of their own sort of animal within the sphere of cryptocurrency and scams.
Mm-hmm. So, Jeb, could you talk a little bit more about some of the tactics that you're seeing scammers use to get the attention of consumers and to get them to the point where they're ready to run off to the cryptocurrency machine to solve a problem?
Sure. So again, I sort of divide cryptocurrency and scams into two categories. The first is an investment scam, and the second is where the victim is directed to go to a cryptocurrency kiosk, and the former is an investment scam. The latter is simply a way of making payment, really. Think of it as like a gift card, that gift cards are used in scams. And with the former, with investment scams, typically the victims who report to us, when they tell their story, the story starts with contact that is made on LinkedIn, more often than not, sometimes Facebook. Some kind of friendship develops, and typically the conversation is taken to a messaging app like WeChat or something like that. And then the scammer says, "Hey, I've made a lot of money in cryptocurrency investment. I'd love to help you." Or, "I have a friend who's made a lot of money, and would you like to talk to my friend?" And that's really the beginning of the scam with an investment scam. With the second kind of involvement of cryptocurrency, the use of these cryptocurrency kiosks, those are kind of part of every other scam we've seen. So a jury duty scam, or a grandparent scam, or a tech support scam. And of late, we've seen a lot of the tech support scams. So someone will be sitting at their computer. They will get a pop-up message that says, this is Microsoft. There's something wrong with your computer. Please call us at this number. The victim calls. It's a scammer at the other end. And the scammer then eventually kind of convinces the victim that they need to pay money to sort of fix things. And but what they are then directed to do is to go to a cryptocurrency kiosk and start feeding $100 bills or $20 bills into the kiosk, and that eventually typically ends up in a wallet overseas.
Mhm. Okay. Jeb, one of the things I was hoping that you would talk about a little bit more is an aspect of cryptocurrency fraud that almost sounds like a version of a romance scam. Whereas, and I guess I'm just trying to draw the distinction that some of these scams end up being different from the, unexpected call, or need to act urgency and a lot of speed. But there is one aspect that seems almost like a romance scam, where the scammer devotes a lot of time and attention and contact to building a relationship. And they're building trust. They're building, the scammer will ask the victim questions about, are they married? Are they a church giver? Do you have kids? Do you have grandchildren? Just all kinds of information. And this is not a 30-second contact, but it is like a romance scam. They're building relationship. Can you talk a little bit more, Jeb, about whether in the consumers who've contacted you, there is much of that element in the complaints you're investigating?
I think you're exactly right, and I can give an example. And so this was a gentleman who contacted our office 2 years ago. His wife had died, and there was a life insurance policy, so he inherited $200,000. And he was contacted on LinkedIn by a person, and she really groomed him kind of in the way that you're describing. What do you like to do? He was an avid water skier. He was also battling cancer at the same time, and she was very sympathetic about that. And so the relationship blossoms. And then she says, she claimed to be from Taiwan, working in California, and she sent him pictures of her neighborhood and the coffee shop that she frequented and where she jogged and where an address and the name of the company where she worked. And it still is unknown whether she really was in California. I suspect she wasn't. And then she ended up saying, hey, I have an uncle, and his name, she said, was Takanaka Heizo, who lives in Beverly Hills. He can help you invest in cryptocurrency. And I actually Googled Mr. Heizo. It turns out this is a real person. He was a former cabinet minister in Japan, who now is a professor there. But if you hit the pause button, if you are this particular victim, it doesn't necessarily make sense that a young woman claiming to be from Taiwan would have an uncle who was a former Japanese cabinet minister. And in any event, he wired $202,000 from his bank accounts into, she had him download essentially a bogus app. He wires his money. It appears that the account has grown to $1.3 million. She told him the account was with Coinbase, which is a legitimate platform. He's looking at his portfolio growing. He wants to cash out. And then he's told he cannot unless he pays another $270,000. He contacts Coinbase. Coinbase says, we don't know what you're talking about. You don't have an account with us. And then at that point, he realized he'd been scammed. And then just to sort of add a coda to the story, he was then contacted by a company called CodeLocks Central, which claimed it could help him recover his lost cryptocurrency. And that itself was a scam. And this is something that the audience should be aware of. So victims lose a lot of money in a cryptocurrency investment scheme. They're desperate. They go online. They'll find a company that claims to be able to recover the lost cryptocurrency, or the company is in cahoots with the original scammers. I think that's the case here. And they charge an upfront fee. In some instances, they can actually trace the flow of the cryptocurrency, but they can't do anything to recover it. So the victim ends up being doubly harmed. They've lost their original batch of money. They put their faith in this cryptocurrency recovery company. They pay them money in advance. The cryptocurrency gets traced, but so what? In order to recover essentially stuff like that, you need a criminal warrant, and these companies have no ability to do that. I hope I answered your question, Helen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to turn to Kaylee. I find that cryptocurrency is that this is an area of great unfamiliarity for most consumers. And I'm imagining that they would have difficulty understanding where to turn to if they had a problem. So, Kaylee, can you speak with our guests with our viewers about the role that 211 plays in general? Because I think for many consumers, it's a fairly new addition to phone technology. So can you share with us information about what 211 does, and also about how you would handle a call from a consumer who was asking for information about a cryptocurrency problem?
Yes, of course. So just as a general, NC211, we're an information and referral agency. And so we cover the entire state of North Carolina, all 100 counties. So wherever you're at in North Carolina, all you have to do is just dial 211 on your phone, and you'll reach a live person who can walk you through your situation. We're here and happy to help. We can look up resources. Our big role is, like I mentioned before, is to provide, our role is to listen and to provide that guidance on next steps through whatever situation you're going through. And we help people find community resources in their area through nonprofits and government agencies. We have a great team. Our team is wonderful. Kudos out to the team who may be watching this now or later. We are 24/7, 365 operation. So day or night, call us, we're here. Holidays, we are here. We're always available to be there as a support system and just to listen about what's going on in your situation, and to see, hey, let's look in your area and let's see if there's anything that we can assist with. We get a wide variety of calls from people who this might be on their worst day. Like they may have lost $200,000 due to cryptocurrency scams, or maybe they're being evicted or things like that. So we can kind of prioritize with them and go with and walk them through what's happening, get some information, screen for eligibility for resources. So in these types of fraud and scam calls, we're definitely getting as much information as we can. We are being that supportive role with them, and that's non-judgmental. We're being very empathetic. This could happen to any of us, right? And the key is that knowledge is power, and the awareness is out there, and that's why it's such a big success that we're here right now and being able to have this conversation and to get the word out there, because things are adaptable, scams are adaptable. Now we're entering in this, the cryptocurrency is such a big concern right now. But we can definitely look into that, see what resources are available in your area. Should you go to different resources for different types of scams, and then we can walk them through what that process will be like, and kind of just be there as a support system through that. We also, of course, have our website as nc211.org, that if you don't feel comfortable calling, you can go on there and look up resources as well. But yeah, we're here and happy to help, and we're 24/7. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. And I'll just remind our viewers that if you have questions that you want to ask any of our guests, that please just put a question in the chat box, and we'll try to answer that. So I wanted to just go over a little bit of information on with our guests on spotting crypto scams. So I guess the overall question for Jeb is dealing with a consumer problem through cryptocurrency ever a legitimate way to resolve a problem? Oh, we've lost your audio, Jeb.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think the answer to that is no. So I can break it down a little bit. So victims are told that there's a problem, something has happened, and they need to send money to fix it. And you skip jury duty, and so you need to pay money to get out of trouble. Your grandson was traveling in Peru and caused a bad accident, and you need to pay money to get him out of trouble. And so paying money in and of itself in that context is an indication of a scam. And cryptocurrency is just a way of scammers getting money, right? They're getting cryptocurrency, but it's tantamount to getting paid. And so I hope I'm answering your question. The answer is no. If someone asks you to resolve a situation by going to a cryptocurrency kiosk and depositing money in the kiosk, then that's a scam.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, John Marin, can you sum up some of the advice that your agency has developed for consumers, that and also talk about the contact sheet that you have available to consumers?
Yes, thanks. The best advice is to seek out and verify independently whether or not the person or the thing is actually real. Jeb has given some excellent examples of the types of scams. We see some things very similar to those. If people are interested in investing in crypto, then they need to do a little bit of homework. They need to understand what it is that they are investing in, how it works, how it's going to make money for them, and whether or not they're dealing with somebody that is legitimate. And so, yes, we have prepared, and I've given to AARP a sort of a basic sheet of trusted resources that people can use to independently verify the person, the thing, the company that is making the investment offering. I'm not sure how to you all plan to make this available, but if anybody is interested, they can reach out to me, or put your comments in the chat, and we'll try to get the information out. but yeah, basically, if things to watch out for are, promises of wealth, people who are making fantastic claims that they're making, you know, X amount of money in return, the percentages. You have to realize that there are no guarantees with investing. The market goes up, the market goes down. That's how it works. So there is nobody out there that can absolutely make a guarantee that you're going to make X percent return. So if somebody's out there saying that, that is a red flag to watch out for. Another red flag is the trappings of success. People clothe themselves or sort of show themselves to be fantastically wealthy. A lot of this can be manipulated and faked, and they may be getting wealthy on scams. So just be careful of that. Another red flag is the fear of missing out, or FOMO. They make you believe or think that there's a limited supply, or that everybody's making money on crypto, so why aren't you? Just a typical ploy for a scammer is to create urgency and to make you think emotionally, and that's not really how you should be treating your investments. You should be thinking about them, doing your due diligence, using your head, not your heart. Scammers prey on isolation. They try to separate you from your natural support system that you may have. They try to become your best friend and say, you can only trust me. Don't talk about this to others. It's a secret, things like that. That's a red flag. You have to act now. Okay. Uh, that pressure to act fast is also a red flag that should be avoided. And especially if at the time that you're trying to withdraw money, they are evasive, or they claim that there are problems with the transfer, or you have to pay taxes or fees in order to withdraw the money. That too is a red flag of a potential investment fraud. So we have, as I said, we've developed this sheet of resources and things that we can make available to your viewers, if through you guys, however you want to disseminate it.
Okay, thank you. That was great. So I wanted to talk a little bit about information resources that AARP has available through our Fraud Watch network. Fraud Watch network is a really deep and very well developed consumer protection resource that has information on all kinds of frauds and scams. It is available to anyone, regardless of their age or whether they're an AARP member. And it has tip sheets on probably 7 dozen different consumer issues. It has a helpline, and that number's on the screen, that anyone can call, and between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., Monday through Friday, talk with a financial counselor, financial fraud counselor, and ask their question and get detailed information on either how to resolve a problem, whether a set of circumstances is a scam, or what to do next. Because being scammed is very, very traumatic for many people, and it does, in some cases, result in psychological distress or emotional trauma. AARP does have available support groups that are conducted virtually. They are free. They're available to anybody, and people can, participate in a support group to get some further help in addressing or dealing with the issue that they have. So I urge folks who have questions about consumer issues to contact AARP's Fraud Watch Network. And I also, one other resource that I find is not as well known to consumers as others is the FBI's Internet Crime Internet Crime Complaint Center. They're available through the address of the initial I, capital C3.gov. And that is another place to go on internet fraud, on cryptocurrency fraud. They're a really excellent resource also for information. We do have a couple of questions that have come from the audience. And the first one is, how, if at all, can money lost by cryptocurrency be recovered? So our guest, do you have an answer to that question?
Well, it's not easy. That's the simple answer. Once you put your money into a crypto ATM or click a link online and connect to your digital wallet to somebody else's digital wallet and hit enter, that money is gone. It can go anywhere in the world in a nanosecond. So it makes it very difficult. What I'd like the viewers to understand is that crypto was designed purposefully. The whole concept of cryptocurrency was designed purposefully to be a deregulated, decentralized system, financial system, I guess, and it eliminates some of the the traditional safeguards that are inherent in our financial system. It removes intermediaries. This is a person-to-person kind of relationship, and just as if you handed a dollar bill to somebody on the street, you've given your dollar to somebody on the street and they can run off with it. And you have very limited chances of recovery. So I'm not going to I'm not an investigator, so I can't say with 100% certainty that things can't be traced, but it makes it very, very difficult. And the other thing to remember is, a lot of times these scams are occurring, the scammer is overseas, outside of North Carolina, outside the United States. And so our jurisdiction is limited. At the state, we are limited to the borders of North Carolina, maybe to the borders of the United States, given certain circumstances, but certainly not overseas. And so enforcing any kind of a subpoena or is overseas is impossible. So just realize that if you're doing something with crypto, that it's instantaneous and it's almost impossible to trace or recover. And so just have those things in mind. We talk about with investing, invest no more than you're willing to throw out a window as you're driving down the interstate. Don't invest any more than you can afford to lose. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. A second question
Helen,
is, Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I could, if I could just track a little bit of what John mentioned. Totally agree. It's very, very difficult to trace and recover cryptocurrency. I will say our office learned something quite recently speaking to local law enforcement agencies. Some of these agencies are starting to and have some expertise in tracing cryptocurrency. But as John indicated, once it's been traced, it can be very difficult, if not impossible, to recover. But we did learn something that's really important, and that is if a victim has used a cryptocurrency kiosk to send money to a scammer, I think the best advice that I have to give that victim is once they realize they have been scammed, is to contact the company that owns the machine right away. Because with the exception, as I understand it, with the exception of Bitcoin Depot, who is one of the major players in this industry, the other companies will generally agree to refund the fees that the victim paid as part of the transaction. And the fees are not insignificant. They can be upwards of 20 to 30%. And that's generally like a fee and also a charge for an exchange rate. And so if you lose $10,000 and you make that phone call, you could get $2,500 back.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. A third question is, what's the difference between crypto and Bitcoin?
Nothing really. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. So crypto is sort of the broad descriptor of any digital asset that is available solely and exclusively on the internet. So Bitcoin was the first, and so therefore it is probably the most easily recognized crypto. But there are literally thousands. I could, and there are websites that will help you create your own cryptocurrency. So it's there's no effective difference.
Okay, thank you. So I would answer that question by saying that crypto is a catch-all term. It's kind of a description of this is how digital currency is described, and Bitcoin is a brand name. So just like you can also go into stores and find, is it Ethereum one? There are several names, but Bitcoin seems to be the one that is widely recognized. Yeah.
Right.
And just if you are just curious about this topic and want to pursue it a little bit more, an interesting exercise is to just go in your search engine or your Google, whichever you use, and pose the question, cryptocurrency kiosks or crypto ATMs near me. And I think you'll probably be surprised at what gets pulled up about the number of these machines and where they are, and they're, and how close they are to where you live. They're not obscure or hard to find in most areas. Okay, so I think we have run through our topics for today. Do our panelists have any parting words of wisdom for our viewers? Kaylee, can we start with you?
Yeah, so I would suggest if you think it, like John said earlier, if it looks funny, probably, double check it. We're here and always happy to help, and, call us, and we can point you in the right direction, so we can get you to some resources, or we can tell you if it's, so we can get you to the resources that tell you, hey, this probably is a scam. But don't be afraid to reach out. It could happen to anybody. It has happened to a lot of people. So just do your best to reach out, ask for help if it looks fishy, and we'll be happy to assist you in any way we can.
Okay, thanks. That's great. John, do you have some parting words of wisdom for folks?
Well, I want to say thank you to my co-panelists. I mean, having 211 as a partner in all of this is fantastic. It's a simple, easy to remember number that works statewide. There are a number of agencies that all have different responsibilities, jurisdictions, and it can be confusing for folks. 211 can help cut through that confusion and then direct you to the right place. As far as another bit of advice for what people can do is just simply Google. Use your search engine and just type in stuff like, have there been any complaints about X, whatever X is, if it's a person, if it's a company, if it's a crypto scam or opportunity, whatever. Just simply Google that, or have there been any complaints filed about X? And while not all responses are necessarily reliable, it will at least help people look to see whether or not something is that others may have experienced that where they have been scammed, and it may be instructive to people.
Thanks, John. Jeb, your parting words.
Sure. I have two thoughts. First of all, in terms of resources, so our website, the Attorney General's office, is ncdoj.gov. If you go there, we have a very recently updated scams manual that talks about all the scams that are out there and gives examples of scams, and devotes a fair amount of attention to cryptocurrency scams. So I would encourage anyone to go there and to download that scams manual. The other thing I'd like to mention is that our office is excited. We are working with AARP, 211, the Secretary of State's office, on an initiative whereby we are coordinating with local law enforcement to have police officers go into the convenience stores where these cryptocurrency kiosks are located to educate the store owners and operators about how these machines are being used for scams. And the hope is that we've created a warning sign that we hope the store owner would agree to put up next to the kiosk. But frankly, more important than the sign itself really is the dialogue between the police department and these store owners, so that they know that these machines that are sitting in their stores are being used to further scams. One more statistic: one state, the state of Iowa, has sued a couple of these companies that own and operate these cryptocurrency kiosks. Iowa has gotten a bunch of documents that they believe show that 95% of the transactions on these cryptocurrency kiosks are related to scams, in furtherance of scams. So keep that in mind. And if you happen to be in a store and someone is shoving money into a machine, it's quite likely they are being victimized by a scam, and feel free to intervene as you see fit, or call 911 and get the police over there right away.
Okay, thank you. And my parting words would be that just like gift cards, going to a cryptocurrency machine and putting in a bunch of money is never a way to solve a consumer problem. It is never the answer to a bill, a fine, or to a consumer problem. So anybody who tries to get you to send them gift cards as a solution to a problem, or tries to convince you that putting money in Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency machine is a solution to a problem, it's a scam. And I also want to mention that AARP North Carolina will be having webinars on consumer protection the first Friday of the next coming months. We'll be talking about artificial intelligence. We'll also be talking about holiday scams. So please note that we'll be doing webinars on those topics on the first Friday in November and the first Friday in December. And I thank you on behalf of AARP. I thank you for your participation and urge you to be an informed consumer. Thanks so much.
Thank you.